Hey everyone, this is a chart review for August 5th. Very volatile day, and I'll be looking at the NQ 2K and 1K charts with the 21 EMA on both. And I've got cumulative delta down here. If you don't know what that is, feel free to comment and I will explain exactly what it is. But you can see that if we just zoom out a little bit, we've been on this huge downtrend, and today feels like a really aggressive day. So almost an overextension of sorts to the downside. So the obvious trade here is to look for a long if you can catch a bottom, but you also want to be careful that you're not trying to pick every bottom as much as you can. So that would be the advice that I would give on really aggressive days like this. If you're picking a bottom, make sure you're fairly selective about it and not just taking any sort of bounce, hoping that it's the bottom. Okay, so like I said, we came down, bounced off this key level overnight, made a little move up, came back down to the exact same key level, and unfortunately I didn't think there was really a setup in this area. I guess if you wanted to get really aggressive, you could take a long here once we retest this level, but honestly, I don't really think that there's anything there. There's nothing in price action that makes me want to take that. There's nothing in cumulative delta that makes me think that might be a good trade. So we trend up, and you can see that so we trend up, we come down, and you can see that I took two trades in this area, and I think on the 1K chart they're shown a little bit better, but you can see that they're both right here. So we've got this key level, and I'll draw it out. I knew where it was just because it was on the other chart, but I'll draw it out here. So you can see we've kind of got a zone here, and let me just move this out of the way. We've got a bit of a zone here that we're trading in, and the bottom is extremely clear. The top might not be as clear as much. It starts to get established here, but the bottom to me is very clear. You can see we're kind of consolidating in this area and then ripped up, came back down, touched that level, came back down again after two measured legs, and we're trading around this level again, and this is where it gets interesting. So there's some things that I like here. So obviously we're at this key level. I really like these pin bars. Some people call them hammers. I call them pin bars. Either way, it's basically a candle that wicks in one direction and then closes strongly in the other direction. But you can see we kind of make a move up here. We fail to break through the EMA. We trade back down, and then what makes this trade really interesting is that we're at a key level. You can see that even though cumulative delta isn't making a new low here, which is what you would really like to see, if I saw a cumulative delta way down here on this trade after just having bounced right here with this cumulative delta, I would be much more aggressive in a long here, but that didn't happen, so didn't get as crazy as we could have. But you can see I've got the 200 EMA here. We come down, we make a pin bar, and there's two ways that you can trade this trade. I traded it a little bit more aggressively just because today was a more volatile day, and that was just the way that I was trading today. However, I do think there's a lot of merit to waiting for the close above this little range here. So if you take it that way, your stop would be 289 ticks, which is roughly, 72 points. And then if you take it a little bit more like I did, your stop is a lot smaller, obviously. So it's more like 40 points, 35, 40 points. So I actually let it run a little bit more and made a little bit more here, but essentially I was watching this bar as we see cumulative delta red. So people are selling here, and we're closing super strong. And so I buy here, and the reaction is amazing, obviously. So I take a buy stop, I throw it in right here, and then I'll show the live clip. You can see kind of how I traded it. But I was trading a little bit more size than I was used to. Or not more size than I was used to, but the bars are so big that it was just a lot more volatility than I'm used to. So I took the long down here, and I wanted to really push it maybe to these highs, but I ended up not, just because I saw 60 points, I think it was, that I'd locked in, and I just hit close trade because that's a lot. But realistically, if you trust the process, you should be waiting until your take profit gets hit.
Order filled.
So that was trade one. Just a combination of a key level with cumulative delta and some nice signal bars. And then the second trade is over here. So this one you can see I did wait for the close at or above the EMA here. And obviously this is a much worse signal bar, but it's kind of the same trade. We don't quite have two measured legs down to it, but we've tried to bounce here. We came back down, couldn't break lower, came back up, came back down, tried to bounce, and then really failed. So if the day was going to continue extremely bearish, you would expect just a huge flush right here, or at least a retest and immediate flush. That's what you would expect after this bar. That's what I would expect. Or at least push down to the level and try to break through and maybe a failed breakout to bounce. But that didn't happen. And so it told me that the tides might be turning a bit here. And one of the other indicators that I'm using here is you can see these bars are red, red, red. There's not a lot of red cumulative delta moving. And you can see here we get a big cumulative delta bar and a big bar to go with it. So that makes sense. But then we get an even bigger cumulative delta. So more people hitting market sells here. And we don't go lower. So it's a much smaller bar, and you see here we have even more market sells, and we make a neutral bar. And then the important thing is here, when you have green cumulative delta that's not even as big as this bar, but you completely engulf the previous bar or get close to it. So it's a nice setup. And then when you see this reaction after a bounce off a key level like that, I mean, there's a good chance it's going to bounce. Obviously, you're playing the probabilities, but you take this trade and just set your take profit, and you have to walk away when it's this big. I mean, that's a lot of money that you're taking. Unfortunately, I didn't record this one live, so I'm not going to be able to show that clip. I had already stopped recording here thinking that I was done for the day, and I was about to close up shop until we started getting back down to this level. But yeah, that's my review for the day. I hope you all enjoyed, and please like and subscribe, and please give any feedback. This is only my second video if you count the first video I put out, which was a short. So if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. Thank you for watching.